Good morning, YouTube. My name's Paul. Welcome to my channel. This is my first video. This channel is for three things. One, I love to hike through the trails in Austin, Texas. I love music. And I like to vibe code. This channel is mostly for me. I want to get better at a few things. One is storytelling. Another is I'm a little bashful and embarrassed. Walking through the woods, talking. Seems like it should be easy, but for me, this is a struggle. I feel put out there having a camera on my chest for everybody to see, but I'm gonna try. So this is one of the trailheads to the Barton Creek Greenbelt. It starts right at the beginning and at the very end of the Violet Crown. So like I was saying, this is mostly for me as I hike as much as I can. Normally I use the time to organize my thoughts, kind of plan my weeks, let go of any bad energy that might be haunting me. And about 2 weeks ago, I had an idea that basically there's not enough time in my life to communicate all of my thoughts to anybody in particular. So I would just start recording my thoughts like this. If you're out there and you're listening, I appreciate you joining me on this hike today. I don't know how long I'll talk, but it's a lovely day. It rained last night, so the ground's a little wet. You gotta watch out for the roots. Here we have a lot of, I think it's limestone, so even when they're wet, they're not too slippery, but the tree roots they'll send you down faster than just about anything. Most of Austin's pretty flat, but once you get over here into the western side, we do get some hills. And that led me to my next thought for my channel. I love music. I love listening to music. I love going to concerts. And I'm highly creative. But one of the jokes of my life is whether it's a lack of talent or patience to cultivate a talent, I have no way to express most of my creativity. And there's some places where the hills, you go up about 10 stories at once worth of elevation change. So my idea was maybe I could use AI to make one song just a play, so you're not hearing me suck breath as I go up that hill. So I started that project like I would any other project. That's going to my friend ChatGPT and saying, describe to me the process for creating AI music. It gave me a couple other AIs to go to. The one I chose was, I don't know if it's Suno or Suno, suno.com. And then I had one idea for a song. So I'm a metalhead. You know, if you don't like metal, the music portions of this hike might not suit you. But anyhow, I started playing around with it, and mostly I would get what I would call heavy rock. You know, kind of in the vein of like Disturbed or, you know, bands like that. Not quite my vibe. I don't know technically the difference between hard rock and like progressive metal, but there's something that clicks when it's progressive metal that's just missing in hard rock. So I finally got it close to being metal, and I got my first song. I'll post a link if I can figure out how right about here in the video to the first song. I've uploaded it to YouTube. I listened to that first song nonstop for about a day and a half, and I was hooked. Every song that's played in my head that I've never had the opportunity to hear was just rushing to get out. So I spent the next day and a half creating an entire album. That whole album is on YouTube. I'll link that as well. And the incredible thing, like I was saying, is I'm very creative. I have ideas, I have arcs, I have the way things should go. But between ChatGPT improving and extending the lyrics to, I might call it Suno adding the voices, the music, and a lot of styling, I get to hear exactly the songs I've always longed for. The first single, You Cannot Break Me, is the one I'll play as I'm going up the hill in maybe 30 minutes. And the album, After the Fire We Rise, is an arc of two individuals. One, a man who struggles with the demons in his head, and the other, a woman who's never had anybody to give her heart to. These are a lot of the ideas I go to therapy for. Before, I would try to listen to music that would sort of resonate. It's like Fear of the Dark. You know, kind of alludes to that monster in the corner, and you're always living in fear that it's going to come. And all you're doing is trying to keep it at bay. But now I have songs that are exactly aligned with the pain I feel in my head. And it's great. And I'd love to share those songs with you. My next plans are to get on more social media platforms so I can start promoting. And that's the second area that I want to work on. The first was, getting more comfortable telling stories, walking through the woods, talking to myself with a camera on my chest. And then the idea of being able to promote myself. Again, that's made a lot easier nowadays because ChatGPT is feckless. It will promote you like you've been a rock star for 40 years. All you gotta do is copy paste. Don't think too much. Try not to worry about what people think. Because some of this is going out to my family, my friends, people I know, people I work with. Yeah, it's hard. Just put it out there. So I'd like to talk about the first concert I ever went to. I'm a little shy, so I'm gonna stay quiet.
Morning. Our first stop is over by Google Park.
So at this point, I'll stay quiet when people go by. Eventually, I hope I could just keep talking, but like I said, I'm a little bit shy. So the first concert I ever went to, I traveled to see somebody in Albuquerque. And one of my favorite bands at the time was Static X. And they just happened to be playing the first day I was in town. It was sold out. We couldn't get any tickets. About an hour before the show, the local radio station did a contest to give away the tickets. So I took out my cell phone, I took out the person I met's cell phone, and just turbo kept calling with both phones. Lo and behold, literally the only thing I've ever won in my life, we won the 2 tickets. The radio station was on one side of Albuquerque, the concert venue was on the other. So we raced across town, got the tickets, got back to the venue. And before going, I just assumed I didn't belong. So going to a concert was not something that I did. I always had these thoughts in my head. There's categories of things I do. There's categories of things I don't. Being a YouTuber, for example, used to be in the category of things I don't. As of today, it's now in the category of things I do. Anyways, that first concert, besides just being a band that I thoroughly loved, probably for 5 or 6 years, listening to every album, basically nonstop. They would do this thing where in the middle of the song, boom, the lights go out, the music stops, and just the anticipation builds. And all at once, you hear the roar, the bass, the drums, all of it comes right back to life. It's just crazy. That kind of environment matches what's in my heart. Just constantly waiting for the beat to drop and the next thing to start. Just behind me, I went down some stone stairs. That's where the Barton Creek Greenbelt starts. I think this is like mile 1. If I gone to the right, that's the very end of the Violet Crown Trail. It goes into downtown Austin. I'm passing under Southwest Parkway. And then we'll meander through a little bit more woods. So that first concert lit something in my life. I think that summer, a group of us probably did 2 to 3 concerts every week. Probably something like 30 concerts, maybe even more over the course of the summer. Mostly all metal. At the time I was in Atlanta, so we had the Masquerade, the Tabernacle. I can't remember the name of the amphitheater down near the airport. And we would just basically every other day see what was playing at each and go see one. This is bands like In This Moment, Nonpoint, Five Finger Death Punch, Slipknot. I won't lie, Slipknot's probably one of the best concert experiences ever. They have like 5 drummers on the stage just going absolutely crazy. And then we found some local bands. One was called Suburban Camouflage. I don't know if they're still around, but amazing sound. I worked with a drummer that was in Attila. I would go to a lot of their concerts. It was just non-stop good times. And they still roll on. You know, part of my hope for this channel is if I can grow it and it catches on and people enjoy the music I make, is maybe having the opportunity to hire a tenor that can growl, a soprano that sounds like an angel, a studio band. I'm going to say and make the music real. Having it created by AI, it sounds as real as can be. I mean, once in a while there's a little glitch. Sometimes it sings a bit of information that shouldn't be sung, but give it style. But all in all, I mean, it's some of my favorite music right now. I basically haven't stopped listening to it since I created it. So my whole life I used to play soccer. It was one of the main loves in my life. Just the speed, the power, the majesty of the game. But about 5 or 6 years ago, my calves lock up anytime I jump or push off to sprint. So I had to make changes in my life. No matter how hard I tried playing, being on the defense, and somebody would make a run at you, you push off, and then I'd be crippled for a couple weeks because it would just feel like my calf tore. So one of the changes, I now hike. And just like the music, wandering in the woods has just lit a fire in my life. You get to see animals, the smells, the occasional people walking by. Sometimes the water's running. So towards the end of this hike, there'll probably be waterfalls. I don't know if I'll still be talking at that point, but maybe I'll turn them on and we can look at them. I've seen deer, pheasants, snakes, tons of lizards. Certain times of year, the frogs hatch and they're all over the trail just hopping around. A couple years ago, we had stick bugs. They must be like cicadas where they come every decade or so. Every tree had many stick bugs. They're like these orange bugs about this long. You really have to look at the trees because they look just like the branches. And they were out for maybe 3 or 4 weeks. Then one of the more disgusting hikes, they all die at pretty much the same time, and they fall onto the trail. So I have a flat tire. I need to tie my shoe. New experience trying to reach around the camera. So when I do longer hikes, I wear ons. I don't know which kind they are. They have more of a, like they have 2 rows of the bubbles, a little more aggressive tread. On shorter hikes, I like to wear toe shoes that have almost, it's just basically a small flap of rubber and you feel every step. And like I was saying, walking in the woods, it's 2 totally different experiences with ons, with basically an endless amount of cushion. I don't have to think at all about my feet. Whereas with the toe shoes, you have to stay present. You have to look at every single step you're about to take. You gotta stay on your toes. And the second your mind wanders, or in therapy terms, the second you disassociate, every time a rock hits right in that delicate arch of your foot, and it brings you back to what's at hand instead of what's in your mind. I travel a lot for my work, so while most of my videos will be here on the Barton Creek Greenbelt, there are other trails in Austin, and whenever I travel, I'll try to find a trail to walk in that city. Sometimes it's hard. I obviously prefer natural terrain, trees, dirt, rocks, roots, but a lot of hiking trails get paved, or they'll have like built-in stairs to go up hills. Not a big fan. So I'll have to do a little bit of research. For instance, tomorrow I'm flying to Raleigh, where I'll be for a couple weeks. So next Saturday should be on a trail in North Carolina. I'll find something within an hour or 2. The other foot is now untied, but I have a friend here to help, so I don't have to reach around the camera. One thing I don't like about ons, these laces, they untie about twice and then they're good. Why can't we just get shoes where the first time it's golden? So anyways, next week I should be in Raleigh, North Carolina. It'll probably be colder. I won't be able to be in short sleeves and shorts in December, which is sad, but we'll accommodate. And the other topic I'm going to be covering on this channel is called vibe coding. I work as a system engineer, so I take from development a lot of different software, make it all work together, and I'm in pre-sales, so then we take that to trade shows. I keep up our showroom at the office. But what vibe coding allows is to use AI, where I'm not really, I mean, I can program a little bit, I understand logic, I can make my way through. But just like with music, I don't know how to play a guitar. I don't know how to write in C. I don't know how to, type my variables, all that kind of stuff, manage memory. So what vibe coding does is it allows me to use a scripting language like Python. And right now I currently just use ChatGPT. It works for what I have to do. But I can make tools that make my job a lot easier. I can make demos based on our computer vision technology. So in the past, that would be something that would take months, where now I can basically make a whole demo in about a week. Which is, pretty cool. And for this channel, I have some ideas. There's an app called AllTrails, where you can, basically it's all the trails in the world, I guess. I haven't done a full survey, but it's like a lot of the trails I walk on here, I can actually record the hike, save it, link it down below. Not today, don't go looking for it, but in the future. But then if you want to come out and try the same hike, you just turn on AllTrails, you find the name that I will start linking in the bottom once I get going, and you could try the same hike. If maybe you're in no condition to hike yet, we all start somewhere. I had never hiked a day in my life before I had to stop playing soccer, and here I am. If you're wanting to get into it, I would recommend some Pilates. That'll make your core firm enough that if you kick a rock or a root, you don't fall over. That's the goal. Don't fall over. I think I've fallen twice. One, I walked into a spider web, and the spider was right in between my eyes on the bridge of my nose. And I was so focused on that, I fully kicked a root and just went over. And the other times are, you slip going down a hill and you just sit down. So nothing major, but it is a concern. And if you have a good strong core, most of them don't happen. This hike's been pretty clean. I don't think even kicked a root. But it happens. On the second half, when you get a little tired, your feet aren't coming up so high, that's when you need to count on your core. And the other advice would be, Go. You belong. Just like I found out I belong at concerts. I'm a YouTuber. The only way you belong is by going. Whether you're looking for health, physical health, mental health, good time with your dog, your family, hiking is a fantastic option. So for the channel, I'm hoping to figure out how to take all trails, and then basically it's like a map and you can see where you are on the map. Finding a way to combine the video of the GoPro with the output of all trails into one UI that then gets recorded as I'm walking. My hope is to keep these long form, not to edit. Because honestly, I travel a lot. I have a son, a wife, pretty busy life. So I'm thinking I'll just plunk these up online. I have to learn how to put the links on the video. But you know, I just learn everything as I go. Never made music before last weekend, and I've already made my first album. I've never created these darn shoes. This should be the last time I have to tie this one. So we're about to go across a little drainage ditch. Come from way up on the hill. And it feeds down the Barton Creeks to my right. This hike I do. You start on the less popular side, which would be the south side of the creek. And then at some point I cut up a ridge and I go a lot further south and walk along the ridge. You know, I like my solitude, and this lets me be alone. With the other side, there's a lot more people walking. Sometimes you get big groups. The bigger the group, the slower they go. I tend to like to keep a pace of about 3.5 miles an hour. That's what feels good for my body. Keeps my heart going. And constantly having to slow down to a crawl is not that great. Then my further goals would be to get a wearable so you can see, you know, whatever data seems nice. And here's that hill. So we'll pick up at the top. But for now, oh, false alarm. Still have a little ways to go. This might be slippery, so I'm just taking my time. Okay, so anyways, my goals to have the all trails overlay. So I'll be a vibe coding kind of thing. I'll post the session where I try to figure that out so we can see how vibe coding works. You know, take something that is very intimidating, writing applications, and it literally basically does it itself. You just have to have an idea of where you want to go. You need a few tools, an IDE, which is like a text document editor, but it allows you to manage a whole folder of documents. You can search through them all. You can have multiples open. You need ChatGPT. You know, your first projects you can probably fit in the free version. But once you start like really working on UI kind of stuff, you're gonna be asking a lot of questions unless you're really good at coding. You know, it's $20 a month for the next tier up. I've never hit a limit, and I'm coding on it, asking it questions about podcasting, making music, basically nonstop. I call it my friend, but not in any, like I don't talk to it in replace of people. It's just a handy friend that lets you know things. And otherwise you'd have to stop, figure out which API does what you need it to, read documentation, experiment, fail 5 or 6 times, and then finally get it working just good enough to implement. And, you know, now you're a week in, and all you've done is put one function into your app, where it literally takes 5 seconds with ChatGPT. Huge time saving. One thing I've always said about my work life, you know, like I was saying, I don't have a whole lot of either talent or patience, but that bleeds over to booking my travel. I routinely don't book a car because it looks like you finish and then there's a like third confirm page that shows up, and I've already moved on by that point. I show up a day early, I leave a day early. It's just a hot mess. So there's this idea called Agentic, where basically the AI fills in those gaps. You know, so something I might like to code is something that'll read the planning decks for my work, like when the trade show happens, and then kind of foolproof my booking. Make sure, you know, the hotel's on my calendar, the flight's on my calendar, the car rental's on my calendar, and alert me whenever it's not, or if the dates don't match. But I always joke with my boss, the best day of my life is when I get to a high enough level that somebody will do that for me. But with AI, you know, we could probably close that gap a lot sooner than becoming a CEO. You just got to get creative and figure out how to do it. And with our friend, it's not so bad. There's kind of a big gap to go down, so I'm gonna have to focus here. I have to run a little bit so we don't fall. All right, that went well, as always. And just up ahead, we're gonna be going up a hill. So the first hit single off of my new album, After the Fire We Rise, is You Cannot Break Me. There's a runner, so I'll be quiet for just a moment.
Morning.
Morning. Another one. I hope I don't get copyright claimed for that little hint of a bit of music as she went by. Anyways, like in 2013 or whenever Les Mis, the movie came out, I just got enraptured by the music. One of the songs, The Confrontation, it has Jean Valjean and Javert kind of going back and forth, speaking over each other. And just ever since then, there was this song in my head where a really growly tenor and the angelic soprano are kind of doing the same vibe, going back and forth. So that was the inspiration for this song. And then the demons in my head are represented by the harsh growls. And so that's of my inner child, basically. And then the high soprano is my adult self, adding comfort for my child. So I'm going to play that for you now while I go up this hill, and I'll catch you at the top, and we'll get back to it.
You can't save me. You never could. I'm here with you. You'll fail the moment I lean on you. I won't fail you. You'll crack the second I need you most. I won't break. You'll turn your back when my world burns. I won't leave you. You'll leave me alone with all my ghosts. My love won't share. You'll fall when the darkness rises. I will stand there. You'll tremble when the shadows speak. I won't fear. You'll run from the weight I carry. I'll stay shining. You'll fold when the night gets deep. I'll stay near. You'll drown in my storms. I'll calm the waves. You'll choke on my fire. I'll breathe with you. You'll never survive my truth. I will stay. I will stay. You will break like all the rest. I can hold you. You can't hold my demons in your chest. I won't shut up.
All right, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that song. If you are a metalhead, maybe you didn't enjoy it. It was better than listening to me suck wind for the last 5 minutes. So at least that's a win-win. I don't quite have all my breath back, and we're still going up. And I got a shoe that needs its last tying. So I'll use that rock. And we'll tie it real fast. If you like that song and you like this content, I hope you could like this video, the song. Feel free to subscribe. Click that little notification bell. Because again, if I can grow this channel, I would love to hire some real musicians to take what I made in AI, recreate it in a studio, maybe even go on tour, share the music with everybody. But it all starts with you. Just like hiking, it all starts when you go. Eventually I'll, hopefully in the next day or two, figure out how to get my music on iTunes, Spotify, Pandora. And I can add those links down below. I'll start my X account, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and hopefully before the next week I'll have all those up and running. And then you'll be able to follow me on your choice. But for now, it's just YouTube. Really, YouTube's the best option because then I guess there's algorithms that then present my content to even more people. And we can start building a community on these good vibes, demystifying complicated technology. When I'm using YouTube, I like to watch very talented people doing what they love. I'm hoping to bring that same vibe here. A few of the channels. There's Tom Johnson in Angora, Maine. He restores antique furniture. It's an absolutely fantastic hour or two just to chill, let your thoughts roam, watch somebody do something absolutely amazing. There's a guy named Simon who runs a channel called Cracking the Cryptic, where he solves mostly Sudoku puzzles. But his logic's impeccable. It's awe-inspiring for somebody who is I rush into things, and then when I fail, I figure out what to do next. So seeing somebody with impeccable logic, it's incredible for somebody like me. And then on the technology side, there's a Primogen. He's a coder. Kind of his videos are for, I would say, expert level coders. But it's just interesting to see how they talk about technology and different things. And Dave Plummer, he also does some technology videos. His are more creating cool things. It's like putting together an old computer, getting LEDs to work, a lot of that kind of stuff. I love watching video game speed runs. I grew up in the 80s, so I'm a sucker for NES. I always liked the weird game. That was the second in the trilogy, so Super Mario 2, Simon's Quest, Castlevania 2. This is super slippery. Yeah, that was slick. I don't know, we have to go down that far to the right. But anyways, basically all the second video games are my favorite. Link, the second Zelda game. You know, all the games people hate just captivated my mind. So yeah, it's kind of what I do on YouTube. Hopefully this lands somewhere in that realm. I'm not super good at any one thing, but you know, if you look at a whole spectrum, I'm at least viable, you know, across the whole order, and I can problem solve with my creativity. And you know, there's always another solution to try. Worst case, you go to bed, you wake up, and you have a whole new brain full of ideas. My next musical idea, speaking of ideas, there's a song, a classical composed song called O Fortuna. If I can remember, I'll put a link to a metal band, Therion, that covered this song. Freaking mind-blowing. But I want to build a metal arc that covers the whole opera. So that's what I'll be working on next weekend while I'm in the hotel room with nothing else to do. I'll try to record some video of that so we can start to see how the vibe cut. We're about a third of the way into the hike. Oh, maybe a quarter of the way. About 2.5 miles. So this video is probably 45 minutes if I had to take a guess. We'll see during editing if it's that long or if it's shorter. I feel like I've been going on forever. I really do appreciate you joining me on this hike. It's a beautiful day. It's probably 65 degrees, a little bit humid, overcast. Haven't seen any animals. So I'll be excited to share them with you if I do. I'll try to keep my eyes open. A lot of times when you come this early, the deer are still out grazing. Not enough people have gone by to scare them off. But I mean, this is just great. You live in a city like Austin, and maybe 10 minutes away, you can hike 10 miles without ever touching the same bit of dirt in almost complete solitude, thinking of your thoughts. sharing them with friends, swimming in creeks. Just fantastic. And all the flowers. I don't know what they're called, but those yellow guys, they're not open, but they'd probably be beautiful. You know, as I hike, I grew up watching, like Discovery, the animal documentaries with Attenborough. And you always are like, I would always just want to be everywhere. But then you come out to a place like this, and you're basically there. We've been in drought for 4 or 5 years. Plants are struggling. The animals are struggling. The creeks are low. And I just hear David Attenborough talking about South Africa. Yeah, the animals just scraping by. The water buffalo's dead on the side of the dry river. And I think that world's not much different than this world. What it would have been like 200 years ago when this was pristine. I'd assume there'd be big cats, wild animals. It's short of the roar of the traffic in the background. You can almost just pretend this is the first time a human's walked on this trail. Seeing things for the first time. Appreciating the beauty of the live oak tree. The gnarled, hard life the junipers must live. The cedars. I mean, how hard must it be to grow up looking like that? Bent every way. And the weight on the shoulders of the live oaks here. Their branches reach back down to the ground. It's just fantastic. And one of the cool things about YouTube is just the vast breadth of knowledge that you learn. It's like playing soccer. I was really fast for like 10, 15 yards. But if you asked me to run a mile, I'd flag after maybe a quarter of a lap on a track. One of the shorts I saw the other day was talking about when you need to move for power, you're using the front of your body. It's like your quads, your abs, and you're really hurling yourself in. And then people that can go a distance, it's the backside. So your hamstrings, your glutes, your back. Those muscles can just keep going and going. So, like I was talking about earlier, if you are thinking of starting to hike, it kind of combines both of those. Going uphill, you're using the front, and then the rest of the time, you're switching back to the back. So you kind of, I would recommend always picking as hilly of a terrain as you can handle. because your backside has been helping you walk your whole life. Your front side, not so much, because our whole life is made flat. Ooh, a little frisky. Feel like a dog in the cold weather when they start running really fast. Like their whole life just got more exciting. I'm looking forward to next week in North Carolina. I hope we'll be down in the 40s at least, at most. Whew. Have to remember to pack maybe a cap. So yeah, if you're still with me, if you're familiar with the Durham, Raleigh, North Carolina area, if you have any recommendations on some trails I can check out, please comment down below. If you are in the Austin, Texas area and you have some trails that you enjoy, you can also comment down below. One thing I might want to do at some point is maybe have somebody else along and we go Joe Rogan style, where we're just kind of riffing through 3 hours of interviewing back and forth, learn about each other, figure out what we do, become friends. But yeah, if any of that sounds good to you, comment down below. I'd be happy to follow up. Again, this week I'll work on getting things like X and all the socials up and going. So you can reach me any way you want. But right now, just probably a comment down below. You know, it's funny, I hike this trail almost every week. And I don't know how many steps I take, but something like 25,000 on a 10-mile hike. There are certain spots where I put my foot in the exact same place every single time. See that right there? My left foot slid maybe 8 inches on that rock. That's where having a core, it just contracts without even thinking about it. Throws your upper body forward a little bit too. And other than the little burst of adrenaline, nothing bad happens. But anyways, yeah. Every time I hike, there are certain rocks, I always put my foot in the exact same place. I step over things in the exact same way. It's just remarkable. And it's not just one or two, it's a vast majority of those 20,000 steps. Real creature of habit. It's something I like to do. Whenever I find I'm in a habit, stop it. And normally when I stop it, I never look back. So like in 1994, I was a sport fanatic. We'd watch football, the college, NFL, baseball. That time Michael Jordan was playing, so I'd even watch basketball. And then in, I'm gonna say 1994, I was living in Atlanta, and there was a baseball strike. That sucked me out of the habit of watching baseball. Other than work events, or it's at a baseball stadium, I haven't been to or watched a baseball game since that time. So 30 years now, 31 years. And that's how habits in my life go. The second they break, they're gone. So at that point, before 94, I was collecting baseball cards. You know, that all ceased immediately. Instead, I found a game called Magic the Gathering, which is a card game. You know, it's a fantasy game, but at its core, you're doing fast calculations to figure out whether or not you're going to win or not, with a little bit of randomized luck. So somebody like me, that's very alluring, having to think, match your wits against other people. So I played that until 1999, and in my head, the second I graduated high school, I was done. Sold all my cards, walked away, never played again. So what I found is after soccer stopped, I basically had only the hobby of going on hikes. And while in my world, I would go like hike the Appalachian Trail, the one on the Pacific coast, backpack across Europe. But the reality is, you gotta keep a job, you gotta keep a family, raise your son, be what everybody else needs. So I've just kind of been running without a hobby for probably the last 6 years, 7 years, since 2017, because that's 8 years. But now with generating these songs, I mean, I think I, without too much thought, have maybe the next 5 or 6 albums cooking in the brain. The hard part is it does take time. It does take kind of some peace to just put on headphones and listen for a long time. Because every song you generate, you probably make 10 or 11 versions. And then you find one that has all the magical moments that just tickle your heart. I mean, it's kind of sad to say this, but sometimes that AI generated voice can even give you the goosebumps. The song I played, Going Up the Hill, if I think about it too much, the tears flow. So not only do I get to hear the songs I've always wanted, I also get the free therapy. And anytime I need to revisit that therapy, I can just re-listen to the song, put it on repeat, and just go where I gotta go, deep inside. I can't recommend enough, if you're a man, I can't speak if you're a woman, but if you have any troubles in your life, reach out for help. There's somebody out there. Who will listen, offer guidance, rationalize your thoughts, help keep you grounded, help fix what got broken along the way. So reach out to somebody today. I'm not that person. I'm happy to listen. But I only have one narrow set of experiences. I'm not qualified. And I'm a guy, so if you give me a problem, I'm gonna give you a solution usually. Rather than console and make you feel better about it. It is what it is. It's a hard lesson in life. My wife has 3 sisters. And training yourself as a man, that when they start talking to you, you gotta suss out whether they're wanting help or they just want you to say, oh, that sucks. Ooh. Oh man, I don't know how you did that. Oh man, you're great. You know, they just want some validation, not having you get up off the couch and grab a drill and build them something. Or go beat up somebody, or whatever the solution might entail. Violence is never the solution. But yeah, you just gotta learn to suck down that first reaction. I think everybody could benefit from that. Just suck in the first reaction. Let yourself have a couple heartbeats. Especially in the realm of emotions. I'd be fascinated to know how much we're all shut down because the first reaction we ever get is negative to every time we open up. And it's multi-pronged because immediately you shut down, or I do. I guess some people get mad, they yell or whatever, but for me, I shut down. But I'm also trained that opening up is going to lead to that shutdown, so then you just don't open up. That's why a good therapist is critical. Because they won't shut you down, and it's a safe place to have those conversations if you don't have anybody else in your life that can support you in the process. Probably when I get to what I call the halfway point, I'll leave you and I'll hike back the rest of the way with music. That's probably in another 20-30 minutes. So yeah, my hopes for this channel, the next step would be if we start getting subscribers, maybe get some sort of wearable tech and live stream these hikes. But to do that, not only do I need that All Trails overlay, I'd want a way to inject music so I'm going up that big hill. I can just overlay it straight into the stream. I'd also probably want some wearable tech so I can see the chat in real time. We can talk about things. I think that'd be really cool. You know, so some weeks maybe I have a friend join me and we hike, we interview, and that could be you. Just comment down below. I don't have a lot of friends. Kind of a loner. So then even if you can't make it out, whether you're sick, injured, you're just enjoying this hike, you can just join me on the old Tappy Tap, and I can have a conversation. Saying the old Tappy Tap reminded me of one other YouTuber that's kind of influenced me. If you don't know, his name's AVE. He's a pipe fitter up in Canada. He just tells crazy stories, takes apart tools, does cool projects. You know, that's I think what we all want. Take her around, make cool projects. I'm better in the digital world than the physical, so you'll probably never catch me making a cabinet. Although I do sometimes have to make a little furniture for work. I had to make a little box to hold some fruit so I can train some computer vision. Again, all through AI. I don't know how to do any of this stuff. That's the cool thing about the world. I don't know how to make music. I don't know how to play a single instrument. I can't sing for anything. When I do try to sing, people try to gag me. I don't know how to code. I don't know how to write computer algorithms. But I can do all this stuff now, just through AI. And I can do it probably faster than teams of people. Which, I'm not trying to brag, it's just literally the power that AI offers. So the coding projects I want to work on the channel is figuring out how to combine this camera feed with an AllTrails overlay, a way to inject music at the push of a button. And then my music for YouTube, you have to make a video. So right now I just had ChatGPT make still pictures, kind of to the vibe that I described, which you'll see if you listen to the album I just dropped, After the Fire We Rise, by me. Well, the next thing is to figure out how to make videos. And just in my early exploration online, Sora can make 5 seconds at a time. A couple of the other tools, it's all 5-second videos at the max. So hopefully soon I can download a tool that will hold a video creating model, let it turn for the day or two, and have the full video for each of my songs. I think that'll be cool. I mean, it's just amazing what we can do nowadays with just prompting. That's all it takes. You prompt, you figure out what went wrong, you prompt again, maybe 4 or 5 tries, you get what you want. And you gotta test it, see if it works. And you're out nothing except 5 minutes. Or you have something very cool at the end. So my work has this invention challenge where you can submit patent ideas. That's something that Chat GPT makes really easy. There's just something that'll kind of search all the patents and tell you if your idea is novel. And they'll even help you write out the descriptions for the submission. So I think my goal this year will try to be to submit one a week, just for the fun of it. I've already got one in the hopper. I just have to develop the idea, get it submitted. Back a couple years ago, I hadn't taken vacation, and I got transferred into a department that didn't really have to prepare for our biggest trade show of the year, which is NRF in New York City. So I took, from Thanksgiving all the way through the end of the year, I had that whole time off. And every day I came and did this hike, and I called it the March Against Obesity. Just in case you're wondering, I am obese. I keep getting close to being fat, just normal fat, overweight. And then I have to travel again, and then I go up another 5 pounds. And I gotta fight that little battle again. Hopefully someday I can figure out how to eat on the road. But as it is, it's like a smorgasbord. Just full meals every lunch, every dinner. Nothing healthy. When I'm at home, I try to just eat steaks. Mix in some kimchi lately, just for a little more probiotics. Yeah, it's pretty good. Helps the steak go down. Sometimes the steak gets dry. But anyways, I was doing this hike. You know, like that little pile of rocks I passed, I just tell stories in my head. I outlined a epic fantasy novel, but then I realized I don't know how to write dialogue. I don't know how to tell a story. So I just have those. I mean, when I say I outlined it, I made some voice notes as I walked, kind of like I'm talking to you now. I was just outlining the story of this world. I don't know where those files went, but you know, now with AI, maybe it can help me fill in the gaps and figure out where to go, what to do. Maybe I can start writing. Some of these trails get a little confusing. Yeah, I don't think I want to go that way. So the way I'm going right now, there's kind of a 3 paths from where I'm at to the other side. This one kind of goes out and around to the south. It's relatively flat. Then there's one that kind of cuts the corner, but it's up and down. Then there's one that cuts very directly, but it's very up and down, a lot of switchbacks. So you lose about a mile in the hike, but you probably gain 20 stories of elevation change. You know, probably the second half of December I have off. So maybe I'll be out here a bit more, and then I'll come back in the realm of what I can do. But right now, I can't. Here in Austin, there's a group for fast hikers. For a while, I was hiking with them. And then we hiked around some sort of dam. I'm not exactly sure which. It was 30 miles, longest hike I'd ever tried. And something behind my left knee gave out. And it kind of spasmed for years and years and years. And I never thought of the other kind of therapist I would recommend for anybody is massage. I never thought to mention it, but then I did. And my masseuse, in one session, fixed it. So like for probably 2 years, it was just spasming every time I would get about 3 miles in. So I had to stop hiking with that group and just never been back. It's kind of a tricky balance. I want my solitude. I want to be able to process my thoughts. I'd also like to make friends. But, you know, some choices in my life. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs, I don't really do pharmaceuticals. You know, any kind of stuff like that. And most of the people that are in fast hiking groups, they want to go for a beer afterwards or pull off and smoke a joint. It's just not my vibe. I want to be out here, I want to walk fast, I want to drain my body, I want to feel tired. I want my brain to clear out. So I think this is the right approach. I have you as my friends. You can enjoy this beautiful scenery. You know, just like the song I played, the hit track off of After Fire We Rise. This is a juxtaposition of dead. All the dead branches, and then just lush life. Hello, Paul here. Sorry to interrupt myself, but my camera's about to die. I just wanted to thank you for coming along on this wonderful journey with me today. I look forward to doing it again. If you could subscribe, click that notification bell, and you'll find when I post again next week with a hike from North Carolina. Again, thank you for joining me, and I hope you the best.